Well, hello everyone, and welcome along to me continuing the old school RuneScape journey by starting a new journey. If you're new around here, please do hit that subscribe button and make sure you're leaving this video with a like. So back in the day, old school RuneScape, you obviously go to the tutorial first, but the most important thing you need to do is pick your player character. And this was one of the most nostalgic things for me because I would spend ages trying to find a combo that worked to be able to sort of get my username that was actually available. Luckily, I managed to put an X at the end and an X at the start. Again, that was like a trend years ago. People would always do that on game accounts, but not so much anymore. We also managed to customize the character. I've gone with the white hair to kind of at least match it up a bit with Revenge Quest. I did also forget to turn the sound on, but I realised at this point, and now it's back on, so we'll be able to hear the monsters getting slapped in just a moment. But we begin by talking to this bloke in red, and once we've done that, he just guides us very basically towards yet another door to go and walk through. We're going to do various little factions along the way, and we begin with a spot of fishing. I did actually used to quite like fishing, and I like all the different things you can do in RuneScape. You know, this is just a big throwback, getting their memories, and in this case, getting ourselves a shrimp. And would you believe once we've got the shrimp, we go along and cut down the tree because we want to cook that. So we managed to get ourselves some logs and then set them on fire with our tinder box that we have been very kindly given, which then of course means we can actually go along and cook that shrimp. Weirdly enough, it doesn't tell you can eat it, which to me seems like a little bit of a design flaw, but oh well, we will get past that. But as you can see, we've got some lovely cooked shrimp, then along through a few gates. As you would expect, we're literally being introduced to some of the most basic things we're going to be able to do, and then we'll just be thrown in at the deep end to get on with it. We go along, we bake some bread. I will forget how to do that within the next 2 minutes. This chap decides to tell us that we can do some quests, but hey, we already knew that. And then a little spot of mining. Would you believe once we've mined, we managed to forge ourselves a little ingot, which was absolutely lovely. And then by this point, I'm along stabbing some rats. The rats took a little while. Fortunately, along with other items, I have been given a sword, which was very, very useful because it made killing him ever so slightly quicker. Then it was time to make one of my first noob errors. So we equip the bow and we try and shoot the rat. And I'm here like, why can't I shoot him? It says I can shoot him through the fence. Well, ladies and gentlemen, it turns out you also need to equip arrows to be able to actually put something on the bow to hit him with, which made sense. Along to the bank just to quickly check that out, and then we speak to the Vicar of Dibley down in its little church. Moving on, we then have to defeat a chicken with the mage skill. Again, it's time to be a noob. Can you believe that spells will not go through a brick stone wall? So the chicken is literally duping me at this point, but don't worry, I use me brain, engage it, and we will walk inside and whack him with a spell. And when I say whack him, it literally sounds like I slap the chicken. I'm hoping you heard that because I did find it quite amusing at the time, and then apparently I nearly put myself into hardcore mode, which I didn't even know was a thing, but that is one apparently, and you can speak to that bloke there, and then long story short, you get one life, and if you die, you die. It would just be a complete and utter wipe, and probably a waste of time for someone like me to do something like that. Luckily, we now get to teleport to Lumbridge, where, as you would expect to see, there's fires going off everywhere, and people trying to max up that skill and get themselves a fancy little cape. I thought I'd do the most logical thing I could think of, which is exactly what I would have done, I don't know, 15 or so years ago. Go along and just slap these goblins with me sword. In a moment, we are going to do the first quest that we attempt, which will be the cook's assistant, a good, classic, nostalgic feeling one. But before then, just a quick discussion over what this is all going to be about. So this is going to be a new series I'm just going to run because I'm really enjoying playing it, and I might as well record it whilst I'm doing it, so you can see my journey of hopefully going along, eventually killing the dragon, getting myself some rune armor, and then doing some later quests. The main objective today was first of all to actually create a character and get through the tutorial and hopefully do a single quest, whilst also collecting up some resources to try and get our first little bit of gold down at the Grand Exchange. There is a big flaw with that plan, which we will come on to later. Many of you may have already clocked on to that, but if you haven't, then it will be a nice surprise for you later on. Anyway, let us head inside and talk to the cook in here. So this is the cook's assistant quest. Literally one of the easiest ones to do, gives you a little bit of rep for your cooking faction, and that is what it's all about. So we need to go along, get ourselves some milk, an egg, and I think it was also some flour if I remember right, because we need to make a cake. Although we don't actually make the cake, we just give him the ingredients to make the cake. My guy looks so old. You know, when I put the white hair on, I thought this isn't going to be an issue whatsoever. Every time I see him, he just looks old instead of looking cool. But hey, never mind. What I am going to do off camera is actually come along to this field, although I'm milking a cow at the minute. Now, as I was about to say, off camera, I will be coming along to this cow field, and we're just going to go through and try and level ourselves up a little bit, but I won't bore you with that, or I might just time jump it. We'll see how it goes. At this point, I thought we'd open up the map, because I needed to find my way to the chicken coop. Now, here is the chickens. I tried clicking on the gate, but I clicked on the chicken, and now it's just following me really angrily and trying to whack me, but luckily there were some eggs just sat inside of this little building here. To those non-meat eaters out there, you'll be pleased to know I left the chicken well alone, even though it did try and attack me, so someone else can go along and batter that one. At this point, the final thing I needed was just some wheat, or in this case, I needed to turn that wheat into flour, so I picked up some of that and went into the mill. Cue noob error number 3. We tried to do it on this big spinny bit. Obviously, at this mill, you have to go to the top floor. I didn't realise there was yet another floor to go up. I'm literally clicking on this again for some time. However, I do eventually manage to put me wheat into the grinder, and then I can head back downstairs and, fingers crossed, pick up the flour, which should hopefully be waiting for me. There's not overly much else to do really other than go back and talk to the chef, so we're just going to quickly teleport over there, or at least to you it will seem like I'm teleporting. Wowzers, just like that, we are back speaking to our dear friend the chef and handing over the resources. And as you can see, we've got our quest point and some cooking XP, and clicking off of that, there's something magical that's going to happen. Would you believe it? We're actually going to rank up as well, which is even better. So we're level 4 on cooking after doing literally no cooking whatsoever, and at this point it is time to head to the Grand Exchange. I'm taking the widest path possible past those dark wizards. Those things are seriously scary and would probably two-hit me if I walk anywhere near them. However, going through Varrock town, again getting all those lovely nostalgic feels, to the Grand Exchange to finally be able to sell some of these items and get myself some money, kaplonk. We can't do that yet. There's some requirements we still need to go along and grab, mainly those quest point ones. That's going to be the most annoying, but like I say, it'll be good to go back through the old quests. That's what we want to do. We want to get our quest points up anyway. We'll need it to be able to go and do our rune armor later on. So that is where we will pick up next time on this journey of doing some of the old quests. Thank you all very much for watching. Please do leave them a like and of course subscribe, and I'll see you all again incredibly soon.